So as I said in a recent video, this week was liable to be quite difficult for Trump because of the transit of Mercury and Sun, which, in transit terms, I refer to often as flybys because, as an example, the Sun, which as a point in the chart, if you look at your actual natal points, is huge. It's the most important point. Transits to it are extremely important, but the transit of the Sun itself, when placed outside, is moving too quickly to be a long-term influence. So it lasts a few days, depending on where it's going through. Same with Mercury. And so right now, he is battling like mad, trying to beat back that devastating story that came out in the New York Times, basically explaining how he dealt with this pandemic in the worst possible way. Now, the house they're going through, or the sign order, if you like, Aries, is the 9th. This is where information is published. The 3rd, 9th, that's the information house, media, messaging, stories, news, what the public hears, what the public knows. And it's why this is happening to him. But it also foretells the disaster that he finds himself in, because this is a near-term thing. It's going through, it's going to pass by next week. But as I illustrate, this black circle here shows you where the traffic jam in late Capricorn is taking place, so that when we get to the election moment, Saturn is going to be right there, doing essentially what this short-term Sun is doing right now. And Saturn doesn't take any prisoners. It is a far bigger problem than a Sun movement going through there for a few days. Saturn is like having an anvil on your head, and that's at election time. Curiously, we look at the Mercury as the short-term thing. At election time, it turns out to be over here in Libra, at the opposite degrees of where the Sun is. So it's triggering too. It's joining the feast, so to speak, around election time. The Sun actually isn't doing much then. It's over here in Scorpio. It's not part of the thing. But this is telling you how rough things will be then, and why this is not going to end well for Trump. And by the way, I'm focusing on mid-April, and then I jump all the way to November. But in between, this area here is constantly getting triggered by these planets, and then there's the Neptune. This whole thing is a disaster. Even Chiron over here, the little planetoid, joins the party around election time and takes the place where Mercury is now. So I don't want to sound too technical, but all of this is pointing to the horrible luck this man has run into. Because let's face it, right? Let's be completely honest here. I don't think any politician could survive this. I really don't. Just ask yourself, what would have happened to Hillary if she had won and she was dealing with this? It is very, very difficult to transact the consequences of a pandemic, because they don't happen often enough for politicians to be ready. Now, of course, Trump is a special case because he's a total idiot. So you can always bet that he will choose the worst possible approach. And so he makes things especially bad. There's no question. But that said, to those people who say, this man is really lucky, he gets away with everything, well, he sure got hit here pretty hard. This is a 2x4 straight to the head, And 2020 for Trump is a horrible year. Now, like I once said in a prior video, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.